Hello, my name is Greg McCaffity, and I'm recording this video discussing Zachman's framework for enterprise architecture for Professor Alexander Peters' CIS512 Enterprise Architecture class at Strayer University. Now, in discussing enterprise architecture, we first need to appreciate what is architecture when we talk about large computer systems. And what we're talking about when we say architecture is we're talking about a plan of how we put together an entire system. And we liken it to architecture in buildings because we approach it in much the same way. And Zachman came to this conclusion back in the 80s when he created this system. Those of us who've been around the computer world for a long time realize that in the 80s, computer systems were not really ubiquitous as they are now. We did not have a workplace where everyone who came into the workplace automatically got a computer system. Now it's an expected thing that you will have a desk, you will have a computer. Then we did not have such a system, and computer systems really didn't function very well within the organization. That was a part of it was technology, but if you've worked with computer systems throughout this entire era, as I have, you begin to realize, as Zachman did, that the problem isn't really technology. The technology is usually pretty good. The problem is, more often than not, when there's a computer system that is not adequate to the needs, is that the computer system is really not integrating very well with the business needs, the vision, the scope, the strategy of the organization in which it operates. And that's where his framework really comes in, because what it does is it breaks down the system by the person that is using it at a particular level. The planner at the top of the scheme all the way down to the user level. And I'll talk about those rows, as he calls them, those levels of planning or architecture in just a moment. But one of the things Zachman realized was that at every level of the architecture, we have to address certain needs. And these needs are rows within his framework. And these rows or needs can be addressed at in any order. But they are data, function, network, people, time, and motivation. And those really break down to the common questions of who, what, where, when, why, and how. This is how we address any problem in the world, really, and Zachman saw that it fit very well with enterprise architecture. Now, we start out at the top level, which is really the global view of an organization, what we call the planner level, the scope level. This is the level where the person guiding the organization looks at the list of global goals and strategies, major events that are on the horizon for his business, or his or her business, and the list of important organizations, locations that they deal with, and basically all the things that are important to the business, not just today, but down the road. The next level that we come to is the enterprise level, which is the owner of the business. Okay, the owner of the business is the person that is actually going to take possession of the system. They are the person that is going to be involved with the workflow, the master schedule for the business, and really the plan for the business, and how all the logistics of the business fit together. And the next level is the system model. This is the designer. This is the person that's putting all of these grandiose plans into practice. Okay, how are we actually going to do these things? And they're making logical connections, such as with our data. How does our data need to flow? Where does it need to get to from point A to point B? And how are our people going to interface? And also at this level, we're bringing in rules and laws that we have to obey. Every business is bound by rules and laws. And that's where we get into this level. Now, at the technology model, the technology level, this is also called the physical level, and it's the role of the person at this level is the builder. This is the person that's actually taking this overall plan, this scheme, which up till now has really just been a scheme on paper, and really putting it into practice. They're saying, okay, well, if we have this data over here and we have to move it over here logically, well, how do we really connect that? And what kind of databases are we going to use? Okay, how much storage do we need? How quickly do we have to move data around? And at all these levels, we're asking, why are we doing this anyway? Why are we doing any particular action? And these are the things that are addressed at the builder level. We're actually taking the scheme, the plan, and all of these visions, and we're beginning to put them into a nuts and bolts design. Now, the next level down is the detailed representation, and this is when we get right down to the brass tacks of it all. When we have a database, we now know how much data we want to hold, how we want to store it. Now we actually go out and say, okay, what kind of machine are we going to buy? We start talking about programs. When we're talking about functioning, are we going to write our programs? Are we going to buy them? And in some cases, we might even be talking about things such as contracting it out. If we have websites and networking, are we going to have hosting done by somebody else? These are the things we're talking about at this level. And the last and the lowest level of all this is the functioning enterprise. This is the user level. This is where someone actually pulls up to a desk, sits down, and begins to do the work. And they need at this point usable data. They need working function. They need a network that is accessible and there when they need it. And they need to know what their role and job is within the organization. Excuse me. Now, the beautiful thing, the most powerful thing about this entire framework is that it works for virtually any kind of large organization or enterprise. I've used the term business, but it can be government, any large organization that's going to create this. And as Zachman said, I'm paraphrasing a quote of his, but basically he said that the whole trick to enterprise architecture is planning the system to integrate with your business, not to worry about the technology, because it's not a technology problem. It's not a business problem. It's a problem of enterprise architecture integrating with business. Thank you.